schools, here is your reference for today's lesson. Your strength, substrength, outcome, topic, materials, and your reference.
Good morning, 8Cs, receiving school students and teachers.
Good morning, Miss Sirma.
Thank you. May sit down. All right, 8Cs and receiving students. For today's lesson, all right, we'll be watching a tape, or we'll be viewing a tape. And from this tape, at the end of the lesson, all right, receiving students, each group will be asked a question, okay? So if that group answers that question correctly, you will get a point, or you will receive a point, okay? So receiving students, that means each and every one of us will have to, while watching the video, right, we'll have to pay attention and take notes when necessary, okay, or if necessary. All right, so like I said, the receiving students and the 8Cs, we are looking at revision topics, okay? So this tape will also be helpful to you. So revision, but maybe some new points will be viewed. Yeah, okay.
Have you got questions?
Yes, we do.
Well, here's Robot,
She knows everything.
and here's Imagination.
That's me.
And they'll answer them all for you.
Why is it warmer near the equator? Can people change? What acid rain?
Look up, flight. Look up, weather. Look up, astronomy. Look up, space. Look up, look up, look up, look up, look up, look up.
Weather around the world.
I guess everyone will be wanting to go outside today. The weather's so lovely.
Well, that may not be true everywhere, you know.
Whatever can Robot be talking about?
Just because the weather is lovely here doesn't mean it is lovely everywhere.
Oh, Robot, how can that be true?
It is true because weather is different from place to place. It may be rainy right now on the other side of town.
Oh, can you believe that's true?
In other parts of the world, the weather is probably very different from ours.
Oh, what if there is a huge blizzard going on right now at the North Pole? Or maybe a hurricane out in the ocean?
That is entirely possible, but do you know why the weather is different all over the world?
Well, no, I don't. I thought weather was the same everywhere.
Well, then you still have more to learn about weather. Climate. Climate is the name given to a general weather pattern in a certain place. How hot or cold a place is depends on how far north or south it is from the equator. Ocean currents, winds, and mountains also affect climate. There are 5 main climate zones. The tropical zone surrounding the equator, 2 temperate zones just north and south of the tropical zone, and 2 polar zones around the north and south poles.
I've heard that it's very cold in the North Pole.
Both polar zones are frozen almost all year round. There are not many plants, just lots of snow and ice. Not many people live in the polar zones. The animals that live there are all specially adapted for the cold weather.
Oh, I feel cold just looking at all that snow.
The temperate zones, which lie next to the polar zones, but closer to the equator, have a more changeable climate. In the temperate zones, there are 4 distinct seasons. Winters are cold, summers are hot, and spring and autumn are mild.
Hey, that's like getting 4 climates in one.
And that leaves the tropical zone, where it is hot all year long. Winter and summer, as they are known in the temperate zones, do not exist near the equator. There is little change in the temperature throughout the year. But some places have wet seasons and dry seasons. Others are just hot and wet all year round, or hot and dry.
I guess the Earth has warm spots and cold spots, right, Robot?
Actually, it has more to do with the sun than the Earth. Watch how the sun's rays hit the Earth. The equator receives much more direct sunlight, which leads to higher temperatures. The sun hits the temperate and polar zones less directly.
So the sun's rays are not as strong, right, Robot?
That's right. Not only do the sun's rays hit the equator more directly, they stay there all year long. The temperate and polar regions get more or less sun depending on whether they are tilted towards or away from the sun.
But the sun shines directly on the tropics all year long. And that's my kind of place.
The best way to start to understand the different climate zones is to have a good look at a globe. Use some masking tape or plasticine to mark off the different zones. Do you know what animals live in each one? How have they adapted to the climate?
I know where the polar bears live. Somewhere you need to wear a fur coat all summer long.
How about doing a project where you find out all about life in a particular area where the climate is different from your own? Examine the climate throughout the year and then look at how people live in it. Look at what they wear, what they eat, what they do, and what their houses are like. How have the people, the plants, and the animals adapted to this one particular climate?
Well, I guess then everyone in our climate zone is enjoying our lovely weather.
Not necessarily. Local weather. You don't have to go to another climate to experience different weather. There can be many kinds of local weather within the same climate. The climate zones identify only the general patterns. When you study weather around the world, you'll see that there are certain factors that affect the local weather within those zones. For example, it generally rains most often near the sea. That's because the seawater evaporates and forms clouds. Water is always building up inside the clouds, so it rains more often.
But I guess where you have lots of water, you get lots of water.
And where you don't have water, you don't get any either. Deserts are located away from the oceans. There is little water in the air and little rain.
That makes sense.
Valleys are protected from the wind by hills and mountains, so their weather is usually calm and even. And the weather on top of mountains is cold and windy.
Wait a minute. How can it be colder on the top of mountains? They're closer to the sun, aren't they?
Yes, they are imagination, but they are farther away from the earth, which holds the sun's heat. If you were in a valley and it was raining, it could be snowing on the top of the mountain beside it.
That does sound strange.
Well, weather can be very complicated, but take my word for it. The higher up you go, the colder it gets.
If you say so, Robot.
Another place that the local weather can be different is in the city. Cities can change local weather conditions considerably, and they can change weather very far away as well. They've certainly changed the rain.
The rain? How can cities change the rain, Robot?
The smoke from the tall factory chimneys in the cities is blown many kilometers away, where it mixes with the moisture that forms clouds. It turns into acids that become part of the rain. It's that poisonous rain that falls on forests very far from the city and kills the plants and animals.
Oh, that sounds terrible, Robot. Why don't we do something about it?
Action starts with understanding.
Acid rain.
Oh no!
Now the fish are dying, trees are too, lakes are dead. Well, what do we do? It's the smoke from the city, don't you know? The sound of smoke up where the strong winds blow. No,
Acid rain,
oh no,
acid rain,
oh no, don't want acid rain around here. Smoke mixes with clouds many miles away, turns into acid rain. We got a problem that's here to stay. Acid rain, acid rain.
acid rain,
Oh no,
acid rain,
oh no, don't want acid rain around here. There's a clear connection from here to there. The wind carries things everywhere. If you want to see the forest healthy and strong, look back at the city, see what we're going wrong. No,
acid rain,
oh no,
acid rain,
oh no, don't want acid rain around here. Oh no, acid rain around here. Acid rain.
You can do some simple chemistry experiments to learn more about acidic liquids and to test the rainwater where you live. Choose several different kinds of liquids to test. Vinegars and citric juices are more acidic. Milk would be a base liquid, which is the opposite of an acidic one. Add small amounts of these different liquids to some boiled cabbage juice. The cabbage juice will turn red if the liquid you add is acidic, and blue if it is a base. A neutral liquid will be some color in between. Try adding some of the rainwater collected in your area to the cabbage juice. Do you have acid rain?
City weather.
Cities don't just change the rain many kilometers away. They change the weather in other ways as well. To begin with, many trees are cut down to build cities. Trees breathe out water vapor, an important part of the water cycle.
And we need the rain.
We certainly do. Perhaps you've noticed that the temperature is warmer in the city. Do you know why?
Let's see. Do the traffic lights give off heat?
No, but the people do.
Of course. All those people together are sure to give off heat.
And don't forget the hot exhaust from cars and chimneys. They give off plenty of heat. Heat is trapped in the city by the tall buildings. Those tall buildings also cause a great deal of turbulence.
Turbulence? What's that?
Turbulence means that there are windy and calm areas very close to each other. In the downtown areas of large cities, the winds at certain corners can be very, very strong.
Oh, hold on to your hat.
Smog is something else that you will find in the city weather. It is made up of fog, smoke, and chemicals. The hot water vapor from factories and cars mixes with the dirty air of the city and hangs over it. Here's a good way to see how turbulence works in the city with all the tall buildings. Put a candle behind a card and blow on the card. Which way does the flame move? Does that surprise you? Try different sizes of cards to represent different sizes of buildings. And try several candles at once. But make sure you have an adult with you. You have to be very careful with burning candles.
Say, Robot, the weather certainly is different all over the world. Different from valley to mountain.
Different from city to country. Different from the ocean to the inlands. And different from climate to climate.
Hey, I've got an idea. How about pretending you live in a different climate? You could wear the kind of clothes that the people there do.
And try out some new foods. Have a taste test to see which native foods you like the best.
Listen to music from other parts of the world and make a model of a house you might live in. Have fun!
Okay. 8Cs and receiving students. That was the tape in which you watched. Okay, group 1. Okay, this is your question, please. Can you answer this question? Okay, let's see if you got some ideas from this, from watching the tape. Okay, group 1, your question is, what is climate? Okay, group 1. 1 and 2. Sorry, group 2. How many climatic zones are there, and can you name them, please? Okay. How many climatic zones are there, and can you name them? So receiving students, group 1, what is climate? And group 2, how many climatic zones are there, and name them? Okay, group 1, have you got your answer there? If they don't answer the question, then others can help them, the other groups. But if they do, then okay, group 3. Okay. Okay, group 3, group 4. Group 3, that's yours. And group 4, your question. Okay, these 2 questions for group 3 and 4. Okay, group 5 and 6. Group 5 and 6. Okay, group 5, that's your question. Group 6. And we'll have the last question for group 7. Okay. Group 7, that's your question. See if you can answer. Listen. Okay, group 1, please, we start now. Okay, receiving students, please, your answers for each of the questions. Group 1, what is climate? If you give the correct answer, you get 2 points. Your group will get 2 points. Can you explain what is climate? Climate is?
Climate is the usual general weather pattern of a particular area or place.
You others agree with her answer? Anyone who doesn't agree, who disagrees, please put your hands up and you say why you don't agree. Okay, the question was what is climate? And she gave the answer. Climate is the name given to a general weather pattern, okay, in a certain place. All right, that's climate. Okay, very good, 2 points. Group 1, yep, you got 2 points. Group 2, your question, please. Give your answer quickly. Receiving students can give your answer for that question.
There are 5 climatic zones.
Okay. Okay. Some of you don't agree with their answer. So what are you saying? How many climatic zones? Are they? Okay, some of you say 3, some of you are saying 5. Okay, those of you say 3. Those of you say 3. Okay, can you name them? Those climatic zones. And then we can confirm with the tape again. Okay. Okay, group 2, you wait first. Group 3, you try and, okay, you name them.
Tropical, temperate, and polar.
Tropical, temperate, and polar. So you're saying there are 3 climatic zones. But what about the other 2 polar zones? North Pole and South Pole. Okay, let's leave yours first. Wait while waiting. Group 4, your question? What was your question? Okay, what type of climate is in the polar zone? What type of climate is in the polar zone? Quickly. What's your answer? Group 4.
Cold, icy, and winter.
Again?
Cold, icy, and winter.
Okay, the type of climate there is cold, all right? It is cold. Okay, good, very good. Group 4. Group 5. Why is it hot all the year round in the tropical zone? Okay, receiving students, why is it hot?
Because the sun's rays shines directly onto the tropical zone rather than the other zones it shines partly.
Okay, very good. Because the sun's rays, okay, shines directly to the equator. And which a tropical zone is part of it's in the equator. Okay? So that's why it is hot all the year round. Whereas the temperate zones, the 2 temperate zones, it has less, the less sun ray goes to those zones. Okay? All right, so group 5, 2 points. Group 6, why is it warmer in the city? Can you give us some reasons to why it's warmer in the city?
It is mainly warmer in the city because of a thing called turbulence. together and lots of people and transport. That's why it is warmer in the city.
Okay, very good. Okay, one reason, okay, because people living together, all right, give off a lot of heat. That's why it's warmer in the city, and also car exhaust factories, they give off heat. Very good. Group 7, what is smog? What is smog? Okay. A thick cloud. Okay, that thick cloud. Okay, mixed with fog. Okay. 1 point for not reading properly. Dirty cloud mixed with what? Fog, smoke, even chemicals. Okay, that's smog. So group 3, there are 5 climatic zones. Okay, because of the two polar zones, one North Pole, one South Pole, and then you have the 2 temperate zones, one temperate zone in the northern hemisphere, the other one in the southern hemisphere, and then you have the tropical. So those are the 5 main climatic zones. Okay, 8Cs and receiving students, thank you very much. We'll stop here. Thank you for participating, each groups. It's already time, so we'll stop here. Teachers, our keyword for today is weather. Thank you, 8Cs and receiving students, for participating today. Okay.
Receiving schools, here is your reference for your next lesson. Your strand, substrand, outcome, topic, materials, and your reference.